Hey everybody, what's up? Your favorite troops are back, as always.
What's
to talk
up?
Fortnite.
Great to
Not
see you
much,
guys.
man.
Haven't seen you in a fortnight because it's been 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Have we not busted that pun out yet? It's
No, we
been
haven't.
20-something weeks. Come on.
Yeah,
On.
I know, right? That's
And I
actually
swear,
kind
I
of
literally
impressive.
just thought of that. I haven't been sitting on that
Are
for
you
like
sure? Are you sure?
eternity. Where,
Okay.
like, yes, I finally.
I
This is the whole
finally get to
purpose
do
of my
it.
show has been fulfilled.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I guess this is the last episode, guys. Tyler's reached his goals. We're done. Call it a wrap now. But yeah, not too much has been going on the past couple weeks. Like last week, there was literally nothing for us to talk about, really. So we just decided to kind of, skip the show rather than kind of getting into a whole bunch of nothing and wasting an hour of everyone's time. But this week, there's a little bit of stuff going on. There's some drama. There's some unofficial released patch notes because, Epic doesn't want to talk to us anymore. But we're going to get to that as well in the hot take section. And then we have some clips for you guys in clips of the week. So it's, probably one of my favorite parts. This week, I actually did something that I've never done before. I picked a clip that didn't have a kill in it. Actually, that's a lie. We did it once. We did it for a building video.
Really?
Really. This is it was an interesting use of a brand new mechanic that came out on the latest patch, completely unannounced, the harpoon gun. So let's get into this first patch right away. So technically, this is content update 11.1, but Fortnite, aka Epic, is not telling us anything. No more announcements. Like if you go to their website, there's no patch notes. They've actually gone back and deleted old patch notes as well, almost to try and say, "Hey guys, we never released patch notes." Yeah, it's.
Oh my god!
I was about to swear. It's bad, dude. It's weird.
Oh my god! I didn't know that part. Yeah, I didn't think to weird. Check.
Yeah, I mean, God bless the competitive Fortnite subreddit because those guys are on the ball and. Yeah, so they went back and deleted a whole bunch of patch notes. I think like they exist, but they're from like way back now. Like you have to go quite a while. But not a whole lot came out. Essentially, there's one new gun, the harpoon gun. It does 75 damage, can be used 10 times. So it pulls in the player that gets hit by the harpoon. Can be used to instantly get fish. Does damage to structures. Able to pull in loot.
Yeah.
And apparently the upgrade stations, which I still have not found one.
I have.
Okay, how did
run into them? They exist. I'm telling you.
How do they work? Because I don't really.
So
I need some context.
Get here. A load of this crap, right? They're not worth it in my opinion because I remember finding one towards an end game situation. Right. It was in a barn or somewhere, and I remember I don't remember if there was an audio cue, but I remember physically seeing it. And going up to it, and you're able to activate it. But the whole thing is that you can use whatever gun you have and upgrade it. But you need obviously material to do so. I misread the way it works. I thought you needed to have like 250 of wood, 250 of metal, 250 of brick, right. And then you can upgrade that like a specific gun. But then I figured it out. It doesn't matter if you're going from green to a blue. It doesn't matter if you're going to a legendary. Like it doesn't matter what you craft. You need enough material to cover all three types. But the limits begin at 250, and then for a legendary, I think the max you'd have to spend up to 350. I believe for each material. For example, I had a scar. I had a purple scar. To upgrade to a gold, I needed 350 metal, 350 wood, 350 brick, and it's like what? It's like that's
over 1,000 mats.
I can't imagine any situation
early game
where that's smart to do. But for a scar, like from purple to a gold scar. That is for over 1,000 mats. I feel like that.
Yeah. Maybe blue to scar would be worth it.
That's what Or maybe
that's probably the best bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds crazy, especially because so if you do it in the early game, then obviously you're kind of hamstringing yourself through the mid game. Like you have to farm mats, and you're not really going to be able to take any extended build fights because you just don't have the materials and the resources to do it, right? And if you kill the person. Well, then they're gonna. If it's an extended build fight, they're going to have blown through a lot of their mats, which means you're not going to get that many mats in return for that fight. I mean, So unless you're going to play really cheeky and like just try and pick people off and like without having to extend resources, like yeah, it might not be worth it. That's actually pretty interesting. I feel like that's something for like lower levels of competition to me, based on the way you're describing it. Because I knew there was going to be a mat cost involved, but to upgrade one weapon to cost that much, that is crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna even see if I could find some other examples, or maybe some of the guns differ, but
do you think it's different based on different guns, or but because that to me sounds like an insane amount of materials to blow through. I mean, because a purple scar is like, in my opinion, the difference between a purple and a gold scar isn't worth that much. Like if you have a purple scar and you have good aim, like you're going to be able to win a fight pretty easy against anybody that doesn't have a scar or another purple scar, if you can outplay them. And the gold, like theoretically, it shouldn't matter that much because it's not that much extra damage. And you don't really get the accuracy bonus or anything. Like the big jump is from blue to purple, right? So yeah. I don't know. That sounds a little over the top for me.
Well, I gotta see if there's any other. Okay, so the proper name for them are upgrade benches.
Upgrade benches.
Yeah. So that seems to be the actual name for them. It's hard to find things when they're not putting anything.
Yeah, there's no patch notes, no numbers, no nothing, which is just, again, for a game that's supposed to be like, you know, hey, we're casual, but we're also competitive. Like we have this competitive element. To not give us the numbers makes it super difficult to like think about what's worth it, what's not. Like you're basically demanding now that players spend additional time like testing things out in actual games, which is not as optimal as just sometimes just sitting there with like the spreadsheet and looking at the numbers and going, is this worth it? What is the trade-off? Like, et cetera, right? Yeah.
Well, I've actually, I confirmed with those upgrade benches, the way it does work, it is based on rarity. Mm-hmm. If you go from uncommon to from an uncommon level, it's only 50 material. For rare, it's 150 each. For an epic, it's 250 each, and then legendary, it is 350 each. So it does get up there. But also something I did not remember, you can completely upgrade the gun as well. So like in the preview picture here, there's they had a blue SMG, and then if they had 250 for each material, they can upgrade it into a purple P90. So it can slightly upgrade the actual weapon itself rather than just the rarity. So that does add a little bit more incentive to it to want to do it.
Yeah.
So I can see where it might come in handy if you have maybe squads and you can actually quickly gather that much material.
And I think so. Yeah, I think we're right. The blue threshold is probably the best threshold to upgrade to get that purple and to get that upgraded item, right? From an assault rifle to a SCAR, from a regular SMG to a P90. Can you upgrade all the way from like uncommon or common to legendary in one fell swoop, or do you have to like sit there and constantly re-upgrade, which you wouldn't even be able to do based on the mat counts?
Pretty sure you'd. Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to do that because you'd probably have to spend all your mats.
Damn.
I know.
All right. Well, those suck.
They've
have a blue item.
They've thought it through though. I'd say with the amount of mats you have to spend, and people already didn't like doing that for the vending machines, and now they took that out for the longest time. And then what happened? I started using vending machines every time I saw one. Obviously, why wouldn't you? So having this implemented, I think lowers the RNG a little bit, because you're not like, I haven't. You first of all, you said you have barely seen them, and I did find them, but when I used it, I like scoffed at it. Like I didn't want to use it. So most players, I feel, that are average, above average players, are gonna walk right by this thing.
Yeah, like I said, I think the only situation is if you have a blue one. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Good to know. What are your thoughts overall on the season? Now that we've had like a couple weeks to play in it and stuff, like, because last show we did was like right when the season came out, essentially. What are your thoughts on like the season so far and like how it plays? Like, I definitely feel like it plays a little bit more like classic Fortnite. Like there's less gimmicky crap, which is really, really nice. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it so far?
The best way I think to describe the loot pool even in this new season is just cleaner. You know,
Yeah.
it feels a lot cleaner. It feels they got rid of so much bloat that was in the game. I remember saying a while back, I mean, I'm not even going to say, oh, this is something I said. I'm guarantee a lot of players have said this, like why at some point, or hopefully at some point, they can essentially hit a reset button and kind of take it back to old Fortnite. They got it. They did that in a way where, well, as close as you could, but still moving forward, where they didn't completely say, hey, here's the old game again. That wouldn't be realistic. But the way that I think that they've implemented their new ideas, but also wiped out a lot of the stuff that they have already put into the game, that kind of makes me wonder, are these things going to stay out of the game forever? Are they going to bring them back? Put him, because some of the stuff was from Save the World, I believe, and I'm not sure if everything was from Save the World or if a few things were original with Battle Royale. But either way, there's so much now that's in the vault, that the game feels a lot fresher. And I hope it definitely sticks with this theme. Like even now they've only released the harpoon. It wasn't like, hey, here's 2 new guns or 3 new guns. Like they're already, just whatever, 1 week at a time. Hopefully we'll get some patch notes again, but it looks like they vaulted that too. So either way, I'm enjoying it. I already have a couple solo wins, so that means I'm enjoying it. But I did figure out after I won a couple games, I was like, oh, now with this new ranking system, what I should have been doing was streaming from the beginning, because I was playing people that were pretty terrible. And now I'm ranked up to a spot where it's like people are getting a little bit better. And I'm like, oh, the game's getting less and less fun now. I was like, wow, this is great. And then I realized, oh, I'm ranking up from like level 1 right now. Now I'm at like almost level 10. And it's the game's definitely getting a little more challenging. So I also got to hand it to them with the new ranking system too. It feels pretty nice. I gotta say.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely feels a little bit better overall. I'd agree with everything that you said. I think like the community feedback in general has been more positive as well, especially with the complete ridiculousness that was the last season of Fortnite. So I think this is like a very welcome change for a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird spot with Fortnite right now where I've been game hopping a lot. I've been playing a lot of different games. And like the bloom just drives me nuts in Fortnite. Like I know it's like a integral core mechanic to the game almost, but like it just like I feel like with building, the game is unique enough that you don't need to also add this like completely like make the guns awful as well. Like I'm just not a fan of the bloom. I really wish that's something they'd address. I might be in the minority there. But
I think you might be, and that's only because all the players that originally were against the bloom and that were probably playing the game back when they had the shooting tests. If you guys remember those days, when they did the second shooting test and then stuck with what they have, which is what they have now, with the bloom and the way it is with everything and the guns. I remember a lot of players were like, waiting for that third shooting test that never came, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those players dropped off at some point or moved on to new games by this point, most likely Apex or Modern Warfare and stuff like that. Especially just because those are players that were not going to ever be into that type of gunplay. That realized quickly, like, all right, well, if this game has bloom, I'm playing another game. So, but. Other things keep you into the game, and like the build mechanics are super unique. So if that's something that you find really fun or challenging, then obviously you're going to stick with the game more often than another player would. And then you have the players that just refuse to build or don't like to build whatsoever. So they just had no chance of sticking with the game.
They left immediately.
There's I'd say that you're in the minority only because the players. Still remain they're still like, hey, don't forget the bloom was an issue, and now there's been 1,000 things happen since then, so no one remembers anymore. But you're still one of those people that hold strong. I remember that too. It was a different time because there was so much less
it was a
involved
cleaner
in the
game at that point. Yeah, and I feel like building was also less prevalent at that point. So people, were getting into more long range like assault rifle battles, whereas now like that's pretty actually rare. Like you're either at sniper range or you're like rushing each other rather than trying to like sit back and I'm sitting here in my 1x1, you're sitting in your 1x1, and we're gonna assault rifle each other. Like you don't see that anymore, right?
That's exactly why I liked my first dozen or so games of the new season, because nobody was building, and then I'm like, oh well, why are people starting to build now? What's going on here?
Yeah. All right, well that makes sense. Okay, I think that pretty much covers like season 2 so far to date. Hopefully it continues, or chapter 2.
Yeah.
Didn't want to say that incorrectly.
Going back.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the competitive now. So we finally saw some squads action going down. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm in full League of Legends Worlds mode, so that's what I've been watching mostly on the weekends. But I did, get a chance to check out some of the highlights and kind of go over everything. And you're seeing some people that you haven't seen before, and a lot of the names that you did see in like squads or in solos, duos, trios aren't really up there. Now I don't know if that's because they didn't play, or if they just didn't do as well as you would think that they would do. But some interesting names on the lists of people who made it through this first week, because essentially it's like a couple of plays. I think it's like the top 10 from each region make through each week, and then at the end of the 4 weeks, you'll have the full finals for each region. So it is regional. You're never going to be playing, like North America will not be playing Europe in this championship series or anything like that. It looks like this is being done exclusively online.
Yeah, good luck trying to do that with squads. You got to do regionals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it would be cool to have like a LAN tournament.
That would,
you know what I mean? Where you have like the top, like
logistically, it sounds like a nightmare, but that would be great.
I mean, it would be like the same thing as the World Championship, right? You have like the top 4 or 5 squads from like North America, East, North America, West, Europe.
It would be incredible.
And then like a couple from Europe, Asia. Brazil, Asia, Latin America.
Yeah. I guess I suppose it would still work. You're having the same amount of desktops, so I feel like that's something that they could still that it's an inevitable thing that they're going to have squads in a public setting. I think that's going to be one of their more exciting shows they've ever done, because a lot of people, like general people that watch Fortnite, prefer duos or trios or squads over solos. I mean, I like watching solos because I like playing solos, but I think people love seeing a full team for Fortnite that's got money written all over it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I would definitely agree. I mean, I think we ran that. We showed that poll last episode of like what people thought was the best mode, and duos was like overwhelmingly the favorite. Yep. But I think that squads has real potential. Like the way it played seemed pretty different. And some of the names are
because it was like what we were saying before. People are kind of settling into roles where there's actually it makes sense why there is a medic gun, that healing cannon in the game, because that takes up 2 slots, because realistically, who's going to carry that? Well, if you're in squads, you're going to have somebody that carries that, somebody that might play a little slower. Now you have a guy who's designated to hold the fishing pole and start fishing loot towards the end games. I've been watching, and it's the roles are so beautiful right now. The way they're coming into play.
Yeah, and I really like that kind of like evolution of the game. And this was something we kind of predicted a little bit, but we weren't entirely sure if that's what we were going to see, right? We didn't know, but it does look like that is kind of how these players have elected to go, is take players with slightly different play styles, and that does work. I think that does work, because you kind of do need somebody to watch your back, especially with how prevalent third partying is in battle royale game types, not just Fortnite, but in all battle royales. Having somebody that plays a little bit slower that can be behind you guys to make sure that no one's coming up, or can draw that to your attention, that somebody's coming, behind you guys as you're kind of pushing, is definitely a good thing to have. Looking at some of the placements, it was kind of actually interesting. Like, obviously North America, we had Zeit and Saf. They actually won the North America East alongside their teammates Commandment and High Sky. Bizzle, who's another player that a lot of people expected to do really well at the World Championship, who didn't do quite as well, I think, as a lot of people thought. He came second. We had Tfue, Cloaksy, Those guys finished in the top 5. You had Booga, the world champion, along with Clarity G, finishing in 4th. And I'm not mentioning every name on these guys' teams, but I'm just mentioning the names that I think most Fortnite fans would recognize. But there were some names too that you've never really seen before, or maybe you have if you're like a super diehard Fortnite fan. But some of the names, so for example in Europe, right, like names that everybody would recognize are Shinkin and Stompy. Those guys finish in 16th.
Yeah.
And above them, you have a bunch of names that you kind of recognize them a little bit, but nowhere near to that level.
With squads, you have a lot more potential for unknown players really coming into light here.
Yeah, definitely. Because it brings this whole new element into Fortnite. Duos has it a little bit, but Duos, let's be honest, Duos was kind of like the two of you run on top of each other, essentially. And maybe in a build battle, you kind of separate a little bit, but the two of you are very, very close, right? Squads, you have a lot more strategic positioning potential, I'd say. You have ability to cut off multiple angles, prevent a team from pushing your team, or from pushing one of your players. You can use people as bait. You can do all sorts of cool things in squads that you couldn't really do in duos and trios. You could maybe in trios, but I think again with trios you saw that because it was only 3 people, losing one person was so disadvantageous that a lot of people just elected to play as quickly as possible. Rather than playing, kind of with one guy far back, it was almost like duos on steroids. Whereas I think squads is finally the amount of people that you need to have a slower paced game. And you did kind of see that, it wasn't quite as chaotic, I felt in the end game. Even though, a lot of the squads did stay alive until very late, which was kind of crazy. If you're looking even at the mini map on the footage you got going on right now, you got 8 people in the first storm. That's actually something interesting. I wonder if they're going to play with this. I don't know if you've played much Apex recently, but they actually changed it so that in ranked, the Storm does insane, way more damage at this point. Especially the second Storm. The first Storm isn't that bad, but the second Storm, if you get caught in it, you're dead. Second Storm. It really forces people to kind of be inside.
Pay more attention too.
Yeah.
You get stuck looting and then you're oh crap, and forget, and then next thing you know, the Storm just passes you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Whereas in Fortnite, I feel the Storm is still really slow. So I'm wondering if that's something they'll ever tinker with. Because you see these super extended fights inside the Storm that in other battle royales, that shouldn't really happen. It is a little bit more forgiving, I guess, in that sense. That you can, stay in the Storm a little bit. It makes the map a little bit bigger in the early stages, especially because you're not so hesitant to get to the next spot. But I think with all the mobility that they have with, the river and the boats and and the ATVs and all the sort of stuff that's in Fortnite now that allows you to get around the map quickly, I feel they could probably increase storm damage a little bit, especially for something like squads. That might be interesting.
Yeah, they actually, I think they disabled temporarily the boats for the Fortnite competitive playlist, if I got that right.
Yeah,
it says motorboats temporarily disabled in competitive playlists and tournaments. Yeah,
there were some hacks going on. I'm not sure if you saw that clip of Myth on stream where he basically there was a boat was like a mech. It just had infinite rockets that was shooting at him. It was insane. It was the craziest. It was one of the craziest hacks I've seen in Fortnite. Yeah, it was stupid. Anyway, the last major region, just to kind of fill you guys in. You had Epic Whale finishing in 3rd. In North America West, Rux and Persecute came in 5th. So again, you see some names that you recognize, but a lot of names that, at least for me, who I tune into the majority of the stuff. I watch the biggest tournaments, and a lot of people that were nowhere to be found at the World Championship are doing quite well here. So interesting to see how that goes. I know people like Ninja were doing squad scrims and stuff like that. I think he's doing that tonight. So anyway, we'll see how it develops. I hope
now we have that additional region now with Middle East, which opens things up for players a little bit, and it kind of doesn't force players into a region where they probably won't belong.
Yeah. Ping is such a big issue in Fortnite that I think it's really, really, really good that they're adding more regions as more people tune into the game.
100%.
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Obviously, once we get closer to the actual finals themselves, we'll pay a little bit more attention. We'll look at all the people who have qualified. We'll do some deep dives on some of that stuff. But I think for now, just that was a good enough general overview. Okay, let's get into what has been going on in the community this past week because it's been weird. First, let's start with FaZe and Jarvis, and your boy got banned permanently for life. You got hit with the equivalent of a VAT ban. So essentially, like, if Epic ever finds another account of his, they will ban it instantly. Yep. Like, he's been permanently banned out of Fortnite forever.
Like, he's not welcome anymore.
So
not allowed off the bus.
Yeah, he's never getting unbanned. Epic has been pretty clear with that. He made an apology video. They rejected it. They basically said, great, but you're still banned. Kind of sucks for him.
We have a zero tolerance policy for the usage of cheat software. That's the key. That's what a lot of people that are trying to defend his actions and say, oh, maybe lower his there's even some really influential people. I remember I didn't even see Ninja, but I saw Doug Sensor Martin, who's a professional Call of Duty player. He was saying, I remember him being one of the first notable people that tweeted out publicly, I think that we should lower the ban. But the thing is that developers there's so much more. It's not like they were teaming or, hey man, I'm going to give you an extra kill in this tournament and maybe boost you slightly.
Right.
They take so much more offense as a developer when you're using software to manipulate the game into a way that gives you an advantage. That's something that they work super hard on, and that you're essentially using outside software, something that they are not welcome into their game in the first place, to break their game.
Yeah,
for the most part, and that's always going to be a zero tolerance thing when it comes to developers. Any type of third party hack software, you're going to get banned from any game,
even third party software in general. So I remember back in the day, are you familiar with Curse? Like, I think they were like an esport. They were an esports organization originally and stuff. So they made a League of Legends overlay. And all it did was you could hover over in the loading screen, you could hover over the people and see their stats on that champion.
Wow.
Right? Which people were doing on their second monitor anyway. They were just lol-kinging the game or op.gging the game. And it created a voice server similar to Discord where you could just join it and be in a voice chat with your teammates. Now, they didn't ban this immediately, but as soon as they caught wind of it, they basically gave everybody like, hey guys, fair warning, like, next patch, so 2 weeks from now, if starting at that day, if you're using Curse like overlay, you're banned. And that is like one of the least egregious things I've ever heard of. You know what I mean? Like, I think it had timers before they had timers in, which is something you could do with math. Like, it was basically a lot of little things that made the game like more simplistic, and you could just focus on playing the game, and like gives you a little bit more information. And their stance was like, hey, listen, we're totally aware that you can do all this with like quick Google searches and like a timer app on your phone.
They probably realized there were so many people doing it. So they're like, look, we messed up. We're going to give you this amount of time. Stop. They pretty much, gave everyone an out.
Because it wasn't really like, you weren't cheating, right? Like, you weren't going to win the game because you used this overlay. Like, that's not how that worked. But it was like something that was still third party. It was not, Riot approved. And they were like, we just don't want this in the game. So they removed it. And it's crazy to think that, like, to give context for anybody who doesn't know, like, so Jarvis basically, he made an alternate account. He put on some like aimbotting software and ran through people with his friend. Mm-hmm. And he said one game he's like, oh, I'm definitely going to get banned for this. And he was right. But I mean, I think in his mind, especially as a 17-year-old, he thought, okay, well, this account will get banned, but I don't really care. It's just like an alternate account. Like, who gives a shit? What he didn't really think about was that Epic has no barrier to entry for you creating multiple accounts, right? It's not like other games where banning your main is actually a big pain. Like, banning one of your accounts is actually a big pain. You have to get it to like a certain level before you can play ranked. Sometimes you have to buy the game separately. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no barrier to entry like that for Fortnite. So they don't do that. They ban every account associated with that IP address or like that computer, like all that specific information, right? So essentially now, for Jarvis to play the game again, he has to buy a whole new setup, probably move houses, and then on any video he makes, he'd have to blur out all of his information and blur out all the player names in the name in the game. Because if they got any information like that, then they could like work backwards to find him and ban him again. And, it's tough because as a 17-year-old, like, He's making a ton of money off this game. A lot of people when they're 17 do dumb stuff, for sure. But the fact that I completely agree with you that we can't give him special treatment, because as soon as you do that, well, then somebody who just gets cheated who gets suspended permanently for cheating, that's a no-name, is going to go, well, how come I'm banned permanently when you didn't ban Jarvis? Like, you let him come back.
It's also
why can't I come back? And then that would actually open up, as crazy as this sounds, that would actually open up precedent for if they didn't unban said random player who cheated, that person could go and turn around, get a lawyer, and sue Epic for like discrimination. Like, hey, you preferential treatment to this one guy. I'm banned permanently for the exact same thing. What gives? Like, that's not fair. So they have to be super, super strict on this if they want to impose that. And I think for the majority of no names, everybody would agree. Like, hey, if some guy just signs into a server and cheats, like, we all want him permanently banned. We don't want him playing that game anymore. But because he made a funny LOL YouTube video out of it, all of a sudden, like, we're supposed to forgive the kid. I mean, it's a terrible situation for him. I do feel bad for him. I mean, we were talking before the show. I feel especially terrible that every time you search his name for like the next like year and a half, you're just going to see his crying face. But I mean, at the end of the day, dude, you make millions of dollars playing a game. You're clearly talented at playing games and like making content. Like, just find another game, find another community, just move on.
Yeah, life comes at you fast, doesn't it?
It does.
Kind of sucks.
And change overnight.
You know, they have to stand their ground here, because if they don't stand their ground and they don't stay banning him, that opens the floodgates for people to cheat. To welcome cheaters. Oh, well, you know, you can't get permabanned. Clearly, they just lowered his ban. So let's see what we can get away with. Maybe we can get away with something a little bit less severe than what he did or whatever. It's just going to open up these possibilities for people to cheat. So on top of that, if I cheated or you cheated, every single player, every single personality, everybody in the community would say, screw him. Throw the book at him. Do not unban him. You're gone. See ya. You're donezo. Yeah. Bye-bye. Toodles. Whatever. Whatever you want to say. They wouldn't care if it was us or any other average player. The fact that he's a big name and he has a bigger platform, you're going to have people that are going to say, hey, you know, give him another chance. That's not fair for players that are not popular in this game, that if they were to do the same thing, there's not one person that would be singing the tune of, well, you know, this random guy, Joe Johnson, you know, I'm sure he didn't mean it. Nobody would care. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that, oh, well, it's, you know, he's on phase up. You got to give him another shot. That's crap. And I totally agree. He can absolutely get another chance. Just play a different game. There's other games. Dude. You already have position. You already have clout. You're a pro game. You are a professional player, but you can't play Fortnite anymore. So just use what you have now and just try to build something somewhere else. Yeah. I was going to say, oh, who knows, maybe down the road, but no, they're probably not going to ban him ever. No, it doesn't matter, but what's done is done. Like, you got to have your head on straight to know, even on a separate account, what you're doing is completely against terms of service for the game.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. Like, I do think he was just trying to make a funny video, right? And like, that was his whole intent in cheating. I don't think anybody's going to label him as a cheater. Like, there's a difference between doing what he did and trying to cheat, like using, like, some CS:GO players have used like this type of software in like tournament matches. Completely different story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that would actually get you labeled as a cheater across all of esports. And everybody would be like, no, that guy's scum. Like, he actually cheats in tournaments. Like, this is different, but you have to take into account. Like, if he played 5 games, which I think he played more than 5 games. If he played 5 games, he ruined 500 people's night. Well, like, if he was playing duos, so 490 people's night, right?
Yep.
That is, or a game, like, which is like 20 to 30 minutes. Like, that's a lot of people. And if, you know, he has 2 million subs. So if like 0.005% of his population is like 100 people or 500 people, right, of his viewer base decides to do the same thing, that would be funny, and they play 5 games, you're talking about like 50,000 people or some like ridiculous like exponential growth. So, you know, with that great power of being a big content creator comes great responsibility, you know, to quote the old Spider-Man's uncle thing. It's really true.
It's funny you say that, because that opens up the possibility now of, even there could be 50, 100, 200 people that saw his video that now had no idea that aimbot or just that concept or anything like that existed, but now they completely know that whole world is there, and they're going to be curious and do their own research. He showed people this possibility that I would be willing to bet, because he probably has a younger fan base too.
Well, that's the thing. With
there's got to be at least one guy that was like,
aimbot's a thing.
You could do this. What is aimbot? This is crazy. Yeah, you know what I mean? Sure. So like, there's probably something that you got to say where this is going to this is why the ban has to stick it, because it's going to stem other people trying the exact same thing.
Yep.
I don't think he, obviously if he was making a video, it's not like he was trying to do it in secret and be like, hey, I'm better than everyone thinks I am.
Which is why I don't think he's a bad guy.
But still, you did it, and we got to make an example out of you, because you're the first one in your position that was caught doing something like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's like, that's exactly why I say, like, I wouldn't have a problem with him getting into another esport, but I understand why Epic has to hold fast on this. And I honestly hadn't even considered, like, what you had said about Fortnite having such a young audience, that he might have actually introduced the whole concept of mods and aimbotting and stuff to a group of people that didn't even know it existed. Like, if you talk to anybody our age or like even a couple years younger, like, they are familiar with like more aged titles, so to speak, like Halo or CSGO or like League of Legends, where there's like scripts and aimbots and wall hacks and like all this sort of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Or like mods, like, dude,
that's something we never.
I don't know if you remember like the Halo 2, like,
I don't think.
Well, yeah, not in Fortnite, but like in CSGO, there's wall hacks.
Yep.
I mean, in Fortnite, there are mods now. Like I was talking about earlier, there's like the machine rocket boat, which is insane. Kind of reminded me of like the old Halo 2 mods, where you would spawn like above you would be above the map. Everybody would spawn in one place, and you had like 720 auto aim on your battle rifle. So you would just hold down R, and you would fire like 1,000,000 bullets a second and just headshot everybody 4 times as they spawn. You literally win a game in like 10 seconds if it was a shooter. I mean, if it was a team slayer, it was really stupid. But yeah, okay. I think we pretty much covered it. Like, the dude is going to be banned for life, but I don't necessarily think that's a condemnation on him. He was young, he was dumb, he did something really stupid that he'll know not to do in other games now. That he went too far on the content thing. Like, sometimes when you're in that content production mode, you push that envelope, and he pushed it a little bit too far. I think now he knows where the line is, and like, I do hope he finds a home in another esport, because he's a talented kid, he's a talented content creator. Like I said, this wasn't nefarious enough where I'm like, oh no, to hell with that guy, I don't want to see him in esports anymore. Like, that's not what the situation is, but you do understand why Epic has to do this.
And it does suck if you're him, because just on the basis that, all right, let's just rewind back to like right after it happened and right before he made the video, and it's like, dude, you gotta cry in the video. You gotta cry. That's how people apologize on the internet now, and no one's gonna buy your bullshit if you don't cry. So it's like, all right, well, I gotta cry. I'm not saying it wasn't legitimate tears. I'm sure he was devastated, but I'm saying realistically, in the real world, if you make an apology video, you're gonna have to cry in it, and then every single channel now is going to have a thumbnail referencing your video with your ugliest crying face
that they can
and
find.
That's now what he has to deal with, which that's really
your name
sucks.
On Google Images for the next 2 years, bro. Have fun with that.
Because I recall
that's almost punishment enough.
I remember there was a call. I think it was it was from CS:GO. There was a guy named T Martin, and he got caught making or being affiliated with a CS:GO skin website, and he was telling people, hey guys, I found this really awesome website, and kept trying to get people to go there when it was actually something that he wrote. So it was conflict of interest. Well, I remember he made an apology video where he, like, one video, I believe he might have been upset and crying, but I remember somebody in that situation making one where they were just like, yeah, I'm really sorry guys, and they did it like in their super nice like living room, like the nicest living room I've ever seen. Like it was like something straight out of a reality show, or like on a movie, like Tony Stark's living room. And it's like, he's like, hey, I'm sorry guys, please forgive me, anyway, click subscribe. It's like, bro, screw this guy. So it's that
was probably Phantom Lord, to be honest. That was probably him.
Yeah, context matters for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
All right. So let's talk about the second hot take real quick before we get into our clips of the week. And it's something that we both kind of touched on already. Epic has suddenly stopped talking to us. Now, whether you agreed or disagreed with Epic on everything that they were saying, and we've both gone on rants on the show about some of their patch notes and how horrendous they were. At least they gave us the patch notes. They gave us the information. They gave us, and now they're just like, hey guys, here's chapter 2. Have fun. Peace. It's like, did they fire their community guy? Like, what happened here? Why are we not getting any information? Why are they like retroactively deleting patch notes? Like, what's going on?
They're on a super extended vacation that we don't know about. Basically, what they did was they're like, all right, so the game's pulled for 2 days during the Black Hole thing. They're like, now we're going to schedule updates for the game for the next few months, and we're all just going to take a long vacation and talk to nobody. So now the game has pretty much just been updating, and there's been no patch notes, no specifications for anything new. We have to find everything out by ourselves now. Which
and they're going.
I don't prefer at all.
No.
I don't think anybody does.
Well, it encourages data mining, which is something that a lot of people don't like because it gives way to spoilers and stuff like that, right? Because there's no other way for you to know the numbers on a gun, like unless you're going to sit there and play test it. Right. Again, like This is what I was saying earlier, like having those numbers out allows a player to go and look and go, okay, well, this got nerfed and it got nerfed by like 5 damage. Does that 5 damage really matter? Well, actually, yeah, over the course of a fight, that increases the kill time on 100 health by 1 shot, increases that kill time by 200 health on 3 shots, right? Or something like that. Like it allows you to do that math and like figure it out. And figure out like what guns are going to be the best and like all this sort of thing. And now you're basically forcing people to just go into creative and test this stuff. And like, again, I understand that like, so casual players, I think, maybe their rationale is like, listen, casual players don't care. And the competitive community spends enough time in creative and like, will do this stuff anyway. But you're making it harder to compete. And you're making it harder for what I would call the semi-competitive player. Somebody who doesn't want to spend
making it harder for viewers.
That too. They don't really know what's good and what's not, right?
Yeah, like now. So you're telling me that if anybody's parent happened to see them watching Fortnite on Twitch and then ask them, "Hey, Jimmy, what's going on here? Or what gun's the best?" or something like that, they're gonna know right away. They're gonna talk their parents' ear off. But imagine now, it's like, hey, so if like your grandma asked during Thanksgiving dinner or like something like that, so what's the best gun? I don't know, Grandma. Nobody knows. That's the craziest thing. It's like even now, it's like if you don't actually play and don't find every gun to get your hands on it and physically use the gun, like the gun's different when you hit people in the head and everywhere else. There's so much you have to learn yourself. Like that is so much harder for anybody that's just like a casual follower of the game now. It's a deterrent. It's not a good thing at all.
Yeah, and I think for low to mid-tier competitive, so people who maybe play the game regularly, so let's just say they play competitive like 5 days a week, like they play ranked 5 days a week, but they only maybe play for like 2 hours, right? So they don't want to spend that 2 hours like in creative mode for the first 2 days, just testing everything out. Like they just want to play the game and have fun. Well, now there's a huge deterrent to them. Like they have to put in so much more time and effort just to figure out what's good and what's not, like what's working and what's not. So I don't know. Personally, I always thought that this was Epic's, like one of the things that I applauded them for the most. I've come from game communities where we got no communication, and it is the most frustrating thing. Like, I don't care if your decision sucks. At least explain it. Tell me what it is. Like, give us the math, give us the numbers, show us what's going on. And, we might crucify you for what you decided to do. But, hey, guys, we're going to do that anyway because people will figure it out. There will be a Reddit post like the one that we saw where somebody actually goes through and does all this stuff. And the information is going to come out. So you're not hiding it from anybody. You're just making people go further to look for it, go to unofficial sources to look for it, potentially be misinformed or have incorrect or incomplete information, all of the things that you don't want. And if we don't like what we see, we're still going to crucify you for it. So but all you're missing now is like the opportunity for us to praise you for being open and communicative and being one of the better companies in that way. So personally, I really, really hope that they get back to talking to us because this has been really weird.
Hopefully at some point they will when this theme wears off of like, whoa, rediscovering the world of Fortnite. Like I totally get that theme they're going with, but this is a little overkill, I'd say.
Yeah, like not releasing patch notes is like
come
a little
on now.
bit too. I feel like that was like the guy whose job it is to write the patch notes. He's like, do you know what would be great if we went in this discovery mode? If I didn't have to write patch notes for like a month.
What
Yeah,
if
that
they-
sounds great, Timmy.
What if they
Let's
just
do that?
What if they just lost the patch notes and they just don't know what's in the game? So they're like, oh shit. Well, we got to start from here anyway. There's a harpoon in the game, and it's like, well, that'd be weird if we just now had patch notes. All right, screw it. We're gonna stop. No more patch notes.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
I don't know.
It's really weird. So yeah, I don't know. Like we're gonna have to see if they start communicating with us again. I really hope they do. I really, really hope they do.
Same here.
All right, clips of the week time.
Let's do it. I like that.
Yeah. So the first clip comes from Calicus, and you can find him on Twitch at Calicus.
All right, simple.
4 HP.
So you see here, this guy gets lasered. Look at his health bar. He has 4 health.
Gal, you fucking.
Okay.
Goodbye.
He's out of mats. Oh,
Goodbye.
not anymore.
Right?
That was nice. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
I
thought so.
think he was out of mats on that shot.
Yeah, he was.
I gotta love a 1 versus 2, especially man. Yeah, just no health at all.
Yeah, he has literally 2 mats left, so he can't build anything. Gets that kill, gets some mats for himself. Although he did get a whole bunch. A bunch fell off there. That's really early in the game to have no mats too. So that's kind of a rough spot to be in. There's like 26 people left alive. So hopefully he was able to farm up and do something else. But nice double kill there with no HP. That's always impressive. Good dodging skills. Or the people you're playing are potatoes. It is difficult to tell, and we will never know for sure. But we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You're just a illusionist there. You're like Neo from the Matrix, just dodging bullets left and right. All right, Kakepi. Clip of the week number 2.
Gazoon type. All right. Ooh, he's got his eyes on something. Oh, this poor fella.
Yep, spotted a player down there.
Was that it?
I thought there was something else.
That was it?
Oh, that was the no scope. Yeah, it's the jumping no scope.
Oh, he had the sniper out. I don't.
Yeah.
had
At
the
first,
audio on that.
I'm like,
Okay.
wait, why did I pick that? I'm like, oh yeah,
Okay.
never mind. It was a sniper. It's a sniper, not a shotgun.
Weird. Like perspective is so much weird. Like I saw that and I was like, that's not interesting. And now you're like, oh, it was a sniper, and I'm like, oh no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought he hit a shotgun shot. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
just
that
right
was
there. It was
all right,
clean,
that was
right?
that was silly. All
Yeah,
right.
that was good. That was
I got
good.
a little confused. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I did too. Don't worry about it. And I found the clip, and I also got confused. So, yeah.
Like, wait, am I a super noob that I thought that was cool?
That was an amazing play, man. Shotgunned. No. Yeah, it's been a long day, dude. I've been data entry for like hours and stuff. I'm like, my mind's like fried. All right, clip of the week number 3. I'm gonna mispronounce the hell out of this. Kuro Mubi. Oh yeah, and this is the clip that is not a. This is not a kill, but enjoy.
Wait a minute. Oh no.
Can you predict what's about to happen here?
He's going to use the fishing pole. Oh, the harpoon. Oh, what? That's so broken, dude.
This was something we said
so
like.
upset that he hit the wall.
Yeah, right. This was something that we actually talked about like way back, well, a lot of episodes ago, where we were so impressed by the Fortnite community's like general ability to just come up with crazy stuff and like crazy new mechanics based on the guns that they're given. And this gun's been out for a day.
Luckily, is the gun hit scan? Yeah, luckily. Oh
Boom.
my god.
Boom. Oh, boom.
That's so good.
It's great, right?
Wow. That's broken as hell, but it's like they're not going to fix that because that's the way
No,
the
it's a
game
cool,
works.
it's a cool mechanic. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like, honestly, like to rocket ride plus be pulling like that takes off like I
That
don't
was
know.
like
I've
trying
always liked
chocolate
rocket
and
riding.
peanut butter for the first time. You're like, these two things go together so well. That's going to be the
Why has
ultimate
no one
meta
told me?
rotational tool. Quote me on that.
That is pretty cool.
That is not hard to pull off at all.
No, it's maybe a little bit hard, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I gotta give them credit for that. All right, and clip number 4 is Sup Sup. Sup Sup 987. This is just lucky. It was good, but it was also lucky. So you can see he's gonna fight, and you can see in his inventory he's got no sniper rifle, and he's like, ah, god damn it. How am I supposed to kill this guy? Oh, look! There's a sniper rifle!
Perfect timing.
And... doink!
Oh, that was such a G move.
Right? And then he drops the sniper right away, too. He's like, I don't need this. This is like a one situation play.
And by the way, let me just throw another shout out to that new feature. I love that fact in the game where if you knock a chest, the ground out from under a chest, or if it's in the back of a truck or something like that, it just breaks the chest open. You get all the contents, and now instead of the chest disappearing. Yeah, because that's what happened right there. I believe was when he busted that bus, whatever chest was on
open.
it. Yep.
And that was
out came all the goodies.
Yeah, that's
poor guy.
Big improvement to the mechanics, and yeah, that guy just got wrecked.
That could have absolutely happened to me. I could have absolutely been that guy on the mountain.
Oh yeah, me too. Oh, this guy doesn't have a sniper rifle.
It's a relatable clip. Yeah.
I feel the pain on that one. Rest in peace, mountain men.
Yeah, but, clips. I gotta go with either that harpoon clip or that no scope, man.
I'm going with number 3, man. The no scope was really sick too, but like, dude, new mechanic day 1. We see an interesting new thing pulled out with the harpoon gun. Like, come on.
You've seen so many great things now with the gun and the way people have been innovative, and now when you get something new in the game like the harpoon, and it's like, oh, it can pull loot, oh, it can pull people. Like, all right, we have to see if this works. Like, there's not going to be a limit now. Like, dude, well, once I saw people were literally riding grenade launchers, like, just any projectile at that point, like, you gotta start mixing everything. You gotta start getting absolutely ridiculous with it.
Yeah, definitely. So, shout out to this guy. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. I'm gonna try again. Kuromubi. I can't.
We have trouble pronouncing names here. Clearly,
Kurombi.
That's why we have the same name, so we never forget. Or never mess up.
It makes it really easy.
Never mess up our own names.
Yeah, it's super simple. I mean, a lot of people the way I get out of it is I say everybody mispronounces my name. They'll like call me Throoper or something. So just
I see the name now. It's Karumbi.
Karumbi. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. That U is messing me up.
Right? Is it ku or is it ka? I think it's ku. Karumbi. See? I told you, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Damn it. All right, never mind. Yeah, that's a tough name.
Oh, yeah, it's Kuromubi. Kuromubi. There we go. All right. I feel Japanese now. No, I'm sorry.
Words, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Yeah, words are hard. That's what we learned this week. And don't cheat. You will get banned, even if you're FaZe Jarvis. But I think that's going to do it for this week.
Hash notes, I miss you. Come back soon.
I miss you too. Come back soon, guys. All right. See you next week. Or maybe the week after. Who knows?